And then it is said, وَالْمُحْصَنَاتُ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ. And also prohibited to you for marriage are who? Al-muhsanat min al-nisa. Now, who are al-muhsanat min al-nisa? Muhsanat literally means those who are fortified. All right? Those who are fortified, those who are protected. And the word muhsanat in the Quran is used in 4 different ways, basically. Okay? Ihsan is to fortify someone, and it is used in 4 different ways. One meaning of this word is a person who is chaste. Okay, a person who is chaste, meaning a person who fortifies themselves, they do not commit fornication. All right. The second implication of ihsan, of fortification, is that a person is free. Free as in they're not a slave. Because their status, their social status, guarantees them certain protections, which were not guaranteed to slave women, right? Thirdly, ihsan, fortification, is also used for a person who is married. Okay, a person who is married. So, for example, a woman who is married is called muhsana. Why? Because her marriage is something that fortifies her. So now she is only going to be sexually active with her husband, right? A man who is a muhsin is only going to be sexually active with his wife, right? And then ihsan is also used for who? A person who is a Muslim. Why? Because Islam is something that fortifies a person, that protects a person from following their desire and just doing whatever that they please, because there are certain laws, certain rules that a person has to follow. So here, وَالْمُحْصَنَاتُ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ, and also prohibited to you for marriage are muhsanat among women. What is meant by muhsanat over here is married women. Meaning, if a woman is married, she has a husband, then another man cannot marry her at the same time. So in other words, a woman cannot have 2 husbands at a time. If, however, she becomes single again through divorce or death of her husband, then after the completion of the waiting period, she can marry someone else. But as long as she is married, she cannot marry another man. Now there's a question. What if a woman is married, but she's a non-Muslim? Let's say there's a Christian woman, she is married. She says that, she's a Christian. Whether or not she follows her religion, that's a different matter. She identifies as a Christian woman and she is married. All right. And remember that the laws of Islam, you don't apply them on those who are not Muslim. Right? So, for example, if alcohol is something that Muslims don't drink, and you see a non-Muslim drinking alcohol, you cannot go up to them and say, well, this is haram. Why are you doing something that is haram? Right? So the laws of Islam, they don't apply to those who are not Muslim. So now the question is, can a Muslim man marry a non-Muslim married woman? If she's okay with that, then is he allowed to marry her? Is a Muslim man allowed to marry her? No, he is still not allowed to marry her. Why? Because over here it is said, al-muhsanat. Al-muhsanat. Al means all married women. So whether she is a Muslim or she is not a Muslim, she's Jewish, she's Christian, from the Ahlul Kitab, a Muslim man cannot marry a woman who is already married. All right? Who is in the nikah of someone. So, وَالْمُحْصَنَاتُ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ إِلَّا مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ. Now there's one exception over here, except those which your right hands possess. And this is referring to captive women. Okay? Captive women whose marriage and relation with their family is basically annulled upon captivity. All right. This doesn't mean that, a woman who is serving jail term is ma malakat aymanukum. No, this is a very specific situation where after a battle, when people were captured, then the women, they would be ma malakat aymanukum, a part of ma malakat aymanukum, as captive women. Their previous marriage, their marriage to their non-Muslim husbands would be annulled. All right. However, relationship can only be established with them after 1 month waiting period. Now, I'm sure you have questions about this concept of slavery in Islam, and as much as I would like to go into it right now, it would detract us from the main topic over here. And for those of you who have questions, who would like to understand this matter further, then I would recommend the book Slavery and Islam by Dr. Jonathan Brown. And there's also a couple of lectures available on YouTube. Inshallah, they can be shared with you. And I encourage you to listen to those lectures in order to understand the concept of slavery in Islam. Because when we come across, things like this in the Quran, in our heart, there is a little bit of discomfort. And then we just try to, quickly go over and move ahead. But we are not at ease. So it's important that we understand the context and the legalities, even if not in a lot of detail. At least somewhat we should be able to comprehend so that we can better understand these verses. And the reason why I'm not going to go into all of that detail is that there's a lot of background knowledge and a lot of tangents that basically need to be discussed in order to have a thorough understanding. And I don't want to touch upon it in such a way that leaves you in more confusion than clarification. So I encourage you to listen to that lecture. It's long, Slavery in Islam by Dr. Jonathan Brown. It's slightly long, but it's worth it. So here, an exception is mentioned over here that those women who come as captives, even though they were married, but with captivity, their marriage is annulled. And after 1 month waiting period, then they are permissible for you. Kitab Allahi alaykum, this is Allah's decree upon you. And this is something that is written on you, meaning this is a decree. All right. And in different societies and different places, you will find that people's laws vary. Something may be legal in one place, but illegal in another place. And also you will find that, people's laws, they change over time. You will find revisions, in laws. But this is the law that Allah has given you. So you have to adhere by it. You could be living in a place where, a certain relationship is not considered illegal. You may not be committing a crime, right, in the eyes of the law of the land. But if it is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forbidden upon you, then it is forbidden. Kitab Allahi alaykum. This is Allah's decree upon you. وَأُحِلَّ لَكُمْ مَا وَرَاءَ ذَلِكُمْ. And permissible for you is whatever that is beyond that. Meaning all other women in the world are permissible for you for marriage. But the women that are listed over here, you cannot marry them. These are muharramat. These are women whom you have to honor. You cannot think about them sexually. And what we see over here is that basically a list of muharramat has been given, right? And who are they? Those whom your father is married, and then your mothers, and those who are related to you through blood, and then those who are related to you through rada'a, and those who are related to you through marriage, right? And then those who are already married. So these are the women whom you're not allowed to marry. The list of what is forbidden is given here, which means that everything else is permissible, right? And this is the case with all worldly matters. When it comes to food, the list of haram foods has been given to us, which means that all other foods are permissible. But we think of things the other way around, right? We think everything is forbidden except for this and this and this. These are halal. Everything else is haram. Whereas it works the other way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned to us what is forbidden so that we can avoid those matters, and then everything else is permissible. Now, when it comes to getting married though, وَأُحِلَّ لَكُم مَا وَرَاءَ ذَلِكُمْ, and permissible for you is, are women beyond that, meaning those women who are not listed over here, you can marry them. But for that marriage also, there are certain conditions. There are certain conditions that you have to fulfill. And what are those conditions? أَن تَبْتَغُوا بِأَمْوَالِكُمْ, that you seek through your property, through your wealth. Meaning there should be a proper nikah. There should be a proper marriage, right? Not prostitution and not, just, and not cohabitation. No, أَن تَبْتَغُوا بِأَمْوَالِكُمْ, there should be a proper nikah. And notice how it is said, أَن تَبْتَغُوا, that you seek, meaning there should be a willingness on the part of the man to marry a woman. And likewise, we learn that there should be a willingness on the part of the woman to marry that man, right? There should be consent, right? At the time of marriage, that a man wants to marry that woman. He's not being coerced into that marriage. And the woman also, she gives her consent, right? She's not being coerced into that marriage. And this consent is taken how? Through the verbal, through the clear ijab and qubul, right? Where the wali, talks on behalf of the woman, and he, talks to the man, and, there's a mahar that is agreed upon, and then the man says, I accept, the woman says, I accept. Now, saying I accept, this is what? This is giving your consent, right? So there should be clear consent. Secondly, أن تبتغوا, specifically بأموالكم, through your wealth, all right? Meaning that the man must give the mahar, right? Mahar is a condition of nikah. And then mahar is not just something to be mentioned at the time of marriage. No, it should also be given. And then from other reports, from other texts of the Quran and Sunnah, we learn about how the marriage is something that should be publicized. It should not be hidden, because a hidden nikah is like zina. All right. So this is why the wali, the wali of the woman should be there, and then the nikah should be announced. All right, meaning it should be known to the people of your community, to your family members, that you got married to so and so, so that when they find you, with someone, they don't get shocked. So أن تبتغوا بأموالكم, and then also أن تبتغوا بأموالكم. Another condition is that you seek, meaning you want to be married. There is the intention of being married, not that you marry someone with the intention of divorce. That this nikah is just going to be for 1 month and then I'm going to divorce her. No, أن تبتغوا بأموالكم. There are certain conditions that a man has to fulfill when marrying a woman. And then محصنين غير مسافحين, desiring chastity, not unlawful sexual intercourse. Now the word محصنين has been used over here for men, meaning men should fortify themselves through marriage, which means that chastity is something that is not just expected of women, but also men. Because sometimes people have different standards for women and men. They say that a woman should be chaste, but a man, yes, he can have multiple girlfriends, and he can be, going here and going there. And a woman is told, just be patient, and it's okay. Men just do that. No, they should not do that. Muhsinin, they should be fortifying themselves. They should be desiring chastity. غَيْرَ مُسَافِحِينَ, not unlawful sexual intercourse, which means that if a man wants to be with a woman, then he has to marry her properly, right? He has to marry her properly. He has to, have the intention of marriage. He has to go through the proper way. He has to give the mahar, all of those conditions he has to fulfill. And if he's not fulfilling the conditions and he's just having relations with her, then this would be zina. And this shows us that a woman also should marry who? A man who is chaste. Yani, where a man is eager to marry a chaste woman, a woman should also be eager to marry a chaste man. In Surah An Nur, verse number 3, we are told, الزاني لا ينكح إلا زانية أو مشركة والزانية لا ينكحها إلا زان أو مشرك. That a fornicator man should not marry anyone except a fornicating woman, right? Or a mushrik woman. And it's not fair that a man who has a reputation of committing zina marries a woman who is chaste and innocent, and people do this knowingly. If a person has repented, that is different. Okay, like for example, a person accepts Islam, they have changed their ways. Islam is something that erases all of their past sins. But yet we see that some men are so eager to know the entire history of their potential wives. The kind of questions that are asked, are you a virgin or not? Have you ever had a relationship with anyone? Have you ever had a crush on anyone? And then people are waiting on the night, on the wedding night, was there blood or not? How on earth is that your business? And all women don't necessarily bleed. And if something happened in the past and a person has repented from it, and they're no longer what they used to be in the past, then what has been left in the past, then leave it in the past. Don't bring it up again. You marry someone for how they are right now, not what they used to be and what they could be in the future. This is very important to understand, because sometimes people are stuck in the past of their potential spouse. That, oh, I know when they used to be in high school, they were like this and this and this. Well, the guy has changed, right? He's no longer hanging out with those same people. He has, his record, his life is very clean now. He has made tawbah from that. And he has, you can see that right now, he doesn't do anything that is haram, right? And then sometimes people think, well, no, it's okay. I know that they have a girlfriend, and they go to, they do this haram or that haram. But what if they change, right? And a lot of righteous women are coerced into marrying unchaste men with the hope that those unchaste men will be fixed by marrying a chaste woman. And it doesn't work like that. You don't know if they're going to change or not. So, محصنين غير مسافحين. You have to see the current status, right? That at this time, right? What are a person's habits? What are their ways? What is their lifestyle like? If they're unchaste, whether they are a man or a woman, then do not marry them. So chastity is not just something important for women, it is also important for men. And محصنين غير مسافحين, what does this show? That if you want to have relations with someone, meaning a man, if he wants to have relations with a woman, then he must marry her. So just because a person cannot find the right person to marry, that does not give them the license to commit zina. That does not give them the permission to commit fornication, right? And the correct way of having a relationship is through nikah. Sometimes people will, be in that courting stage for years and years. And it's so unfortunate. So many men, break the hearts of women like this. That, yes, I will talk to your family. Yes, I will talk. Let this happen. Let that happen. and just one more year, and just 5 more months, and just, let your family come, then I will talk to them. Let my family come, then we will talk to your family. And this goes on and on and on for years and years. So this is not correct. The right relationship must be established in the proper way. Don't let men play with your heart, and don't believe their false promises. فَمَا اسْتَمْتَعْتُمْ بِهِ مِنْهُنَّ فَآتُوهُنَّ أُجُورَهُنَّ فَرِيضَةً. So whatever that you benefit from them, whatever you enjoy of marriage from them, now men are addressed over here, that after the nikah, then you derive benefit from your wives, meaning you establish sexual relations with them, then فَآتُوهُنَّ أُجُورَهُنَّ فَرِيضَةً. Then you must give them their mahr. And this is an obligation. This is an obligation, meaning now it is absolutely mandatory. Now it is like a debt on you. So sometimes it happens that, at the time of the nikah, the mahr is not handed over to the wife. Why? Because the man says, I'm still making that money. I'm still earning that money. It's going to take me a couple months, right? So what happens? The marriage is consummated. The two are living together. Now, once the two are living together, the man must take the matter of mahr very seriously. It is a faridah. It is an obligation. It is like a debt on him now. He has to give it. So the mahr basically becomes due. It becomes mandatory upon establishing sexual relations, upon the consummation of marriage. And the person, the man who marries a woman without the intention of giving her the mahr, then such a man is actually committing zina. And if a man gets married at the time of nikah, he says, I'll give 10,000 as mahr. And he has no intention of giving it. What happens? The marriage is consummated. They're living together. They have their first child. They have their second child. The woman reminds him that, by the way, you said you were going to give me 10,000. Where is that? He's like, I don't know. Maybe. He keeps stalling. And if she brings it up, he laughs it off. Then we learn in a hadith that a man who does this, and a man who dies without giving his wife her haqq, her mahr, then in hadith we learn, لَقِيَ اللَّهَ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَهُوَ زَانٍ. He will meet Allah on the day of judgment as a zan, yani as a person who has been living a life in which he has been committing zina. Yani that will not be considered marriage, that will be considered zina. And this does not make the woman sinful, all right? Because she did her part, she is not sinful, he is sinful. And his sin is like the sin of zina. So this is something very serious. And then it is said, وَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي مَا تَرَاضَيْتُمْ بِهِ مِنْ بَعْدِ الْفَرِيضَةِ. And there is no blame on you if for what you mutually agree to beyond the obligation or after the obligation. Yani, if, let's say, after the marriage, the mahr is adjusted later, it is increased or decreased, it is changed somehow with mutual agreement, فِيمَا تَرَاضَيْتُمْ بِهِ, with mutual agreement, then there is no harm. And we have learned about this earlier as well. So, for example, at the time of marriage, the man says he will give 10,000, right? The woman agrees. Now, what happens? He was expecting that, every month he would be able to save 2,000, and then by the next few months, within 5 months, he would be able to give her the mahr. But now what happened? Because of COVID, his business, is no longer operating the way it was operating before. This was unexpected, right? Unexpected, circumstances. And now he sees that how is he going to save up for the mahr when he is falling in debt every month? So what happens? The wife sees that, poor guy is struggling a lot. So she says that it's okay. You can give it to me whenever that you can. I know you said 5 months at the time of marriage. If you give it to me after 5 years even, I'm fine with that. Whenever you have the money, it's okay. Or she says that, you don't have to give me the cash, it's okay. Uh, you can give me something else, right? They make some adjustment. Or she says, it's okay, you don't have to give me anything at all. She decreases it, right? So any agreement, mutual agreement, it's perfectly fine. Inna Allah kana aliman hakima. Indeed, Allah is ever knowing, ever wise, and it is on the basis of His knowledge and wisdom that He has given you these commands. Therefore, you must adhere by them. And then it is said, وَمَنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ مِنْكُمْ طَوْلًا. And whoever among you is not able to marry, who أَنْ يَنْكِحَ الْمُحْصَنَاتِ الْمُؤْمِنَاتِ. He's not able to marry free believing women. Then what should he do? فَمِمَّا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ مِنْ فَتَيَاتِكُمُ الْمُؤْمِنَاتِ. Then he may marry from those whom your right hands possess of believing slave women. Now here, we have learned about the importance of giving mahr, right? And remember that when it comes to a free woman, a woman who is of status in society, her mahr is not going to be something very small, right? It's going to be a significant amount. So what if there is a man who is not able to marry a free believing woman? So here, muhsanat means free, meaning he cannot afford to give a decent mahr, nor can he provide a decent living standard, right? He is poor. So what should he do? So here, if an allowance has been given that he can marry a slave woman who is a believer. There is a condition, min fatayatikumul mu'minat, that she should be a believer. So he needs to basically lower his expectation, right? His standard, and he should not think that this is beneath him, because wallahu a'lamu bi imanikum ba'dukum min ba'd. Allah is most knowing of your faith. Some of you are from some others. Meaning, a person's worth is by their iman. So if the slave woman believes, then why not? And you, ba'dukum min ba'd, you people are from the same origin. All of you are children of Adam, right? We learned in the first ayah of Surah An Nisa about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created all of us from nafsin wahida, from a single soul. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam also said that a woman is married for 4 things: her wealth, her family status, her beauty, and her religion. And you should marry the religious woman. Otherwise, you will be a loser. So, wallahu a'lamu bi imanikum ba'dukum min ba'd. We also learned in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse number 221, that do not marry mushrik women, polytheist women, until they believe, right? And a slave woman who believes is better than a mushrik woman. So you can marry a slave woman, and don't think that this is beneath you. As long as she has faith, this is something that is permissible. Now, just as a side point, some people are extremely picky. And while men are picky, I have to say over here that their mothers are also extremely picky. That when it comes to, finding a suitable daughter-in-law, sometimes the man is fine, as long as she's a woman who can speak, my language, we can connect, we can, click, I'm okay. But the mother of the man has so many standards. She has to be tall and thin, and her skin color has to be like this, and her teeth have to be like that, and she should know how to do this, and she should know how to do that, and her name should be nice, and her family should be nice, and she should have this kind of education, and not too much education. And she should know how to drive, but she should not be driving all the time. And she should be friendly, but she should not be socializing all the time. She should be able to work, but she should not be working. So many young men are not able to marry. Why? Because their mothers are extremely picky. So because this is a women's gathering, this is my request to you, that please make it easier for your sons to marry. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying over here that if a man cannot marry a free woman, he should marry a slave woman, then why are we so arrogant? And why do we have such high expectations? And if you think about it, your son, he also has his deficiencies, right? He is not a perfect man. He has his deficiencies. So why is it that no girl is good enough for your son? And this is something that is extremely painful to see, where such good, righteous girls, with such good character, the only reason why they are, not considered for marriage, they're not marriage material, is because they don't have the right skin tone. That skin tone doesn't meet your standard, or that their family situation doesn't meet your expectations. So we should not be so arrogant over here. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us that ba'dukum min ba'd. You are from one another. Now, when it comes to marrying a slave woman, there can be two possibilities. One possibility is that the man frees her and then marries her. Okay? And this is something that is extremely rewardable. In a hadith, we learn, this is in Abu Dawood, that anyone who sets his slave woman free and then marries her will have a double reward. In another hadith, we learn of the same thing, that 3 kinds of people will have a double reward. And one of them is a man who owns a slave girl and he teaches her manners, educates her well, and frees her and then marries her. So basically what has happened over here is that she was a slave, but then she was set free. So her status changed from being a slave to a free person. And then this man marries her. So for this is double reward. All right? But then there is another possibility. And the other possibility is that she remains a slave to her masters even after marriage. And this is what is mentioned in this verse. Because you see, if a man sets a slave free, well, he doesn't, that means he should have some wealth. And this ayah is talking about a man who cannot afford to give mahr, to give a decent mahr. All right. So this is the second case where he marries a slave woman and that woman is still a slave to her masters. All right. So here it is said, فَانْكِحُوهُنَّ بِإِذْنِ أَهْلِهِنَّ, that marry them with the permission of their families. And what is meant by their families over here is their owners. Because a slave, whether male or female, cannot marry without the permission of their master. All right? And then it is said, وَآتُوهُنَّ أُجُورَهُنَّ, and give them their rewards. And what is meant by that is that you should give them their mahr. But the mahr of the slave woman will not stay with her because she's still a slave to her masters. The mahr will go to who? Her masters, unless they let her keep it. Because remember that whatever belongs to a slave belongs to the master of the slave. So وَآتُوهُنَّ أُجُورَهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. So basically, the man still has to give something, even though he cannot give a huge amount. He has to give something, even if it's very, very small, insignificant. But he has to give something. And then it is said, مُحْصَنَاتٍ غَيْرَ مُسَافِحَاتٍ وَلَا مُتَّخِذَاتِ أَخْدَانٍ. They should be fortified, they should not be committing zina, and they should not be taking secret friends. So here we see that chastity is mentioned. That chastity means that she is now going to be fortified to the man that she is married to. So the slave woman now is married to this man, and she will only be sexually active with him. She cannot have relations with other men, not even her masters. All right? Nor any other men. So that is clarified over here, that once the slave woman is married, then she is only with her sexually with her husband, not with her owners or anybody else. And specifically, it is mentioned here that muhsanat ghayra musafihat, that they should be fortified And they should not, غير مسافحات, they should not be committing, zina, and they should not be taking secret friends. Because there are two ways of committing zina, right? One is that you make it a public affair, right? A person is openly, cohabiting with someone that they're not married to, right? Or that they are committing zina with anyone. This is what? This is musafihat. Okay? So it is said, غير musafihat. They should not be committing zina openly, and they should not be committing zina with anybody at all. And then, ولا متخذي أخدان, not taking secret friends. This is meant, what is meant by this is committing zina in private, secretly, so that nobody finds out. Or committing zina with just one particular boyfriend. All right? So neither of this is acceptable. Once the slave woman is married, then she will just be with her husband. She cannot commit zina openly or secretly or with anyone or just with one friend. No, not allowed. Because in Surah Al-An'am, verse 151, Allah says, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الْفَوَاحِشَ مَا ظَهَرَ مِنْهَا وَمَا بَطَنَ. Do not go near indecencies, whether they are public or they're hidden. So now they're married, and they should not basically be like prostitutes, because at that time it was very common for slave women to be used as prostitutes, all right? And they would be pressured into committing zina as well. So this is why it's made clear over here that once they're married, even though their status is still that of a slave. It doesn't mean that they can commit zina. And then it is said, فَإِذَا أُحْصِنَّ فَإِنْ أَتَيْنَ بِفَاحِشَةٍ فَعَلَيْهِنَّ نِصْفُ مَا عَلَى الْمُحْصَنَاتِ مِنَ الْعَذَابِ. And then once they are sheltered in marriage, so here أُحْصِنَّ means تزويج, marriage. Once they're married, then if they commit adultery, then for them is half the punishment for free women. So their status is not that of a free woman, right? They're still slaves. But if they end up committing zina, even though they're married now, if they end up committing zina, the punishment will be half. And we have discussed the punishment earlier. Why the punishment is going to be half? Because, you see, our religion is very beautiful. The law that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given is very beautiful. In that society, female slaves especially could be easily coerced into committing zina. All right? And if you think about it, the power dynamics are not the same. Even though a woman is married, but she is a slave, and someone comes with so much more power and wealth, and he uses his he coerces her basically so that she is willing for the sake of some money or for the sake of some benefit, and she ends up committing zina. So because of her background, because of her situation, because of her social status, right, it is more likely that she will fall into zina, not because she's an evil, promiscuous woman, but because of the social dynamics. And we cannot hold her as responsible as a free woman because she does not have that status. So this is why the punishment will be half. ذَلِكَ لِمَنْ خَشِيَ الْعَنَةَ مِنْكُمْ. This permission, to marry a slave woman, is only for who? For the man who fears al-anat among you. What is anat? Anat is basically sin. Right? He fears falling into sin, and he's afraid that if he does not marry, he will end up committing zina. Right? So in that case, he can marry a slave woman. وَأَن تَصْبِرُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. And if you are patient, that is better for you. So basically, we see that men have been discouraged from marrying slave women. Okay? It's only an allowance for the one who is afraid of falling into sin. Why is there discouragement? Because the extreme difference in status and upbringing and background is going to create difficulty in the relationship. But one of the reasons, and that is one of the main reasons, is that the children through this marriage will also be born into slavery. All right. This is technically the law. They will be slaves to who? To the masters of that slave woman. So this would basically promote more slavery. Okay. So this is why it has been discouraged over here that men should not marry slave women. If you if you can avoid that to the best of your ability. And so this is only an exceptional situation. However, if a man frees a woman and then marries her, then this is something not just permissible, but also extremely rewardable, as I mentioned earlier. Wallahu ghafurur rahim, and Allah is forgiving and merciful. And this is why He has given these commands and He has given these allowances for your own good. And yuridullahu liyubayyina lakum, Allah wants to make clear to you, meaning the lawful from the unlawful. وَيَهْدِيَكُمْ سُنَنَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ وَيَتُوبَ عَلَيْكُمْ. And Allah intends to guide you to the good practices of those before you. And Allah wants to accept your repentance. وَيَتُوبَ عَلَيْكُمْ وَاللَّهُ عَلِيمٌ حَكِيمٌ. And Allah is knowing and wise. So all these commands that are given over here are to clarify matters for us. Because when there is clarity, there is ease. And when people are not clear about matters, then there is confusion. And Allah intends to guide us over here. And through these instructions, we are being guided to the good ways that were practiced before us. And the good ways of the righteous before us. So this is not the first time that, for example, incest has been forbidden. No, this was also forbidden in the previous scriptures. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intends to guide us over here to the best ways. وَيَتُوبَ عَلَيْكُمْ. And these commands are a mercy for us, right? So certain things have been made permissible, which were previously forbidden, right, on those before us, or vice versa. The law has been made easier. Wallahu alimun hakim. Allah is knowing, wise in His commands, in His decrees, in His actions. Wallahu yuridu an yatuba alaykum. Again, it is mentioned, Allah wants to accept your repentance. This is out of Allah's mercy towards you, that these prohibitions have been given, or these allowances have been given. And on the other hand, وَيُرِيدُ الَّذِينَ يَتَّبِعُونَ الشَّهَوَاتِ أَن تَمِيلُوا مَيْلًا عَظِيمًا. But those who follow their passions want you to digress into a great deviation. They want you to do something different, which is why we see that there are, calls today to let siblings marry one another if that is what they want. These are people who follow their desires, and they want the same path for you. يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ أَن يُخَفِّفَ عَنْكُمْ. Allah wants to lighten the burden for you. This is why certain things have been made permissible. And also certain things have been made impermissible. وَخُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا. And mankind was created weak. And this is the reason why, because we are weak, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not left even matters of marriage to our discretion. He has given us a lot to follow. Because if these matters were left to our discretion, then we would struggle a lot. So وَخُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا. It is out of Allah's mercy and consideration that He has given us a law that we are able to follow, and a law that protects us, and a law that is for our own well-being. Because this is what a creation that is weak deserves from a master, from a Lord who is knowing and wise. Inshallah, we will conclude over here. If there's any questions, I can take them in the next few minutes. Inshallah. Bismillah. Okay, is suckling specific to breastfeeding, or does it also include? No, this is rada'a is nursing, meaning a woman breastfeeds the child. Now, of course, that milk can be pressed out, or it can be directly from the breast. That doesn't matter. The point is that a woman's milk is being given to a child, and rada'a is not established with just one session of nursing, you can say, but with 5. All right. So, for example, if if a child is nursed just once by the neighbor, all right, then the neighbor, she doesn't become the mother. All right, the hukum of radar is not established. The hukum of radar is established with multiple sucklings. All right. And bottle feeding, yani if it's formula milk, then no. But if it's your own milk, then yes, then radar will be established. And yani that can be naturally because a woman is producing milk, or you can also take medication to ensure that you are producing milk. So is an adoptive child also not mahram? Yes, a child who has been adopted by the family is not a mahram. All right, unless and until there's some kind of relationship established. So, for example, and this is something that is common in many families, that if, for instance, a couple will adopt a child, the woman will nurse the child. And, a woman can take medications to, be able to produce milk. She will nurse the baby. And if she is not able to do that, she will have her sister or her sister-in-law, someone in the family nurse the baby so that there is no issue with hijab, etc., and the hurma is established. Can the parents demand for a huge mahar although the daughter wants a reasonable one? This is something that they have to come to an agreement over by themselves. It's possible that the parents are demanding a huge mahar because of their own, concern for the welfare of their daughter. However, if the daughter feels like this is constantly creating a problem, that she's not able to find someone who is, who meets that standard set by the parents, then she should, advocate for herself. She should try to get them to agree. And, if they're not listening to her, she should use, some kind of social pressure where she talks to her uncle or grandfather or someone to speak to the parents about that matter. Can a man marry for the second time without announcing to anyone because of the first wife or family issues? You see, a nikah has to be public. Public now does not mean that you have to announce it to the whole world. All right. Public means that the people who know you, the people who live with you, they're aware. Because if suddenly they find out something because of which they feel like, you have been with another woman, then they're going to doubt your chastity. They're going to think you're committing zina, right? They're going to think that you are in a haram relationship. And for a man to live like this, where he is hiding something so major from his wife, how is he living with so much secrecy? Yes, everyone has a right to privacy, but there's a difference between privacy and secrecy, right? And there should be no secrecy within a marriage. So he should not keep this matter secret. He should inform her about it because otherwise she will not be able to trust him, right? Can two men and women get married if their parents do not agree? If they get married, is that considered zina? I do not understand the question. Two men and women? Two men and a woman. No, a marriage is only between a man and a woman. Only two people. All right. If the question is, can a man marry a woman without his parents' consent or permission? Technically, yes. Yes, because he does not need the permission of his family to marry. All right. However, would this be appropriate? No, this is not appropriate because you should not disobey your parents, and you should not make them feel like their opinion has no importance in your life, and you would not have their have their support, and you would be missing out on their du'as. So do not do that unless it is a situation where parents, they have completely different priorities and they're not letting the son marry at all, because this also happens. So in that case, of course, a person has to see what is in their best interest. Okay. Where second marriage is a crime, how can a man marry and announce without legal issues? So this is the thing. It's very unfortunate that people will do something like this and lie about their marriage, because on the one hand, we tell non-Muslims that we don't commit zina, right? We don't fornicate. We don't just have sexual relations with anyone. But then on the other hand, in hospitals, there are women that are coming as single mothers, right? And women in hijab that are coming as single mothers, or, they're going to collect welfare as single mothers. They're constantly lying about it. So yes, even though Islamically it is permitted, a person must make sure that they're not lying about it all the time, and they're not telling people that, I only have one wife. That would be a lie. However, one thing is that announcing any means that your community knows, right? Your community knows that you have two wives, for example, right? Or that you got married again. Because if they don't know, you go to the masjid, with one wife, and people are wondering, who's this lady? Right? Or you are seen shopping, sitting in the car, eating at a restaurant, and people wonder, this person we thought was a very good, righteous man, he comes to the masjid regularly, and now he's with this strange woman, we don't recognize her, what's going on? So in that case, it should be made public to your community. All right? It doesn't mean the whole entire world, but at least your community, they have a right to know. And this is one of the reasons why the walima is supposed to be done, the feast. Because when there is a feast, then people find out that yes, so-and-so got married. All right, inshallah, we will conclude over here. Jazakumullahu khairan. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.